Well, one of the most interesting things as somebody who lives in a state and has covered the state legislature is that they don't necessarily just concentrate on the presidential election or, Congress, but state legislatures as well, because of course that is where redistricting happens.
Well,
and that's
yes.
where you also get your field team that eventually may end up going into Congress.
I mean, again, I think you have to give them credit for having been very savvy and creative about how to take over American politics. It's a multi-level operation, and so one of the things that the Kochs have done, they've spent much less time on the presidency actually than they have on state politics, and particularly in 2010 was a very big year. 2010 was a year that it was right after the Citizens United case, so the brakes kind of came off on what could be spent. And the Koch group by then the Kochs weren't just putting their own money into this. They had gathered around them maybe 400 other extraordinarily wealthy conservatives who pooled their resources together and tried to take over Congress. It was a midterm year. There was usually not that much money spent in a midterm year. They spent a record amount, and what happened was they helped the Republicans take over the House of Representatives, and they also helped take over state legislatures all over the country. 2010 was a big year because it was a census year. That's the year that state legislatures draw up congressional districts and gerrymander them. So what happened was they helped make it possible for Republicans to draw districts that are advantageous to Republicans all over the country. It was so smart. And the Obama White House, they had no idea what was coming their way. It was in 2010 that I started working on this subject, and I remember I had an interview with, not an interview, it was just I bumped into David Axelrod, who was one of the political counselors at the White House, and he said, "What are you working on?" And I said, "I'm working on a piece on the Koch brothers." And he said, "Who?" And it's like no one knew what they were up to or who they were at that point. But they were working very hard at it, and the whole story's in the book. It's quite something, but it was a coup. I mean, I don't mean that in the sense of, I mean it as a sense that they pulled off something amazing, not that it was an illegitimate takeover. But they, with their fortune, managed to help take over the House of Representatives and quite a bit more in the country in 2010. And when Obama lost the majority of both houses of Congress, it really stopped him in his tracks. There wasn't a lot more he could do after 2010.